Hello, we're students from the lycée Parc Chabriat in Moulins, and today we will present you our project named TipTapTop. So here you can see Electroboy. He's the one who will guide children during the hand washing process. And in one hand he has soap, which represents the notion of hygiene, and on the other hand he has a lightning bolt, which represents the electrical energy. And this project is mainly aims to the notion of hygiene with the soap and the children's, which gives him a pedagogical context, and the pedagogical context is for the lightning bulb. So we know that water is important and it's a resource we care about. That's why our project is using this water so that we create electrical energy. It's a pedagogical project because it aims to the youngest in primary school so that they wash their hand properly. So TipTapTop is an original device designed in a pedagogical and ecological way. The main goal is to increase children's awareness on the notion of hygiene, which is not sufficiently instilled today. And to reach our goal, we guide them during an interactive and self-sufficient system. So thanks to this diagram, you can see TipTapTop in its environment. So we have the two principal functions. One here, which is to deliver singing and visual information to the user. And the other one is here, which is to control the opening and closing of the tap. And we also distinguished constraints, which is a good-looking object to set up the system easily, so that the system is a self-sufficient system, and so that the user understands quickly the goal.
I'm going to present you our TipTapTop device from the inside, as say the components. Each component has a very precise role and is very useful. First, we have the sound card, which permits us to guide children during their hand washing cycle. Next, we incorporated an infrared sensor and a solenoid valve to control the water flow. When a kid puts his hands under the TipTapTop device, the action will be detected by the sensor, which will open the solenoid valve so that the water will flow. And when the kid takes back his hands to soak them, the action will also be detected so that the solenoid valve will close and the water will stop flowing. These were the three components who draw some energy in our device, and who says consumption says production. It is thanks to this component that our device is self-sufficient. In fact, the turbine produces enough energy to feed our entire system. It even produces a surplus of energy stored in this battery. It's very useful when we didn't use TipTapTop for one weekend. It will keep feeding energy to the sensor, which will always remain active. The last component of our device is this AT-Tiny85. It was programmed with an open source software, and it is the component which permits us to synchronize all our components. We had to design a shell to protect all our components, and it had to be aesthetically pleasing for kids. We took extra amounts of time during this process to ensure precision. We designed this shell in 5 parts so that it would be easily fixable on a tap, and we could easily fix the components in it. So these 3 parts over here were designed this way so that we could easily fix the components in it, and the 2 top parts so that it would be easily fixable on a tap.
So kids are attractive to good-looking objects, but they're also attractive to sound, and that's when we decided to add a soundtrack. And so we tried to make the soundtrack, but we couldn't find the good sounds for children. So we found one on the internet. And we also decided to add a voice on it so that the child would be guided through the hand washing process, and that's where Arno agreed to use his voice. And so all we had to do was to put the voice on top of the jingle so that his voice was heardable.
The principal function of our device is to guide children during their hand washing cycle. So we divided this in 3 parts. First, our device had to be attractive. So we broadcasted a message on the sound card, and we utilized the water drop shape of the shell to make it visually pleasing for kids. Next, it had to be ecological, so we had to make sure it was self-sufficient, and it is thanks to the turbine and the battery. It also had to be waterproof, so we used epoxy and welded pipes. And we had to have the control of the water flow, so that's why we incorporated the AT-Tiny85, the solenoid valve, and the sensor. The last part was that it had to be easily fixable, so we used standard screw nuts.
So Louis managed to make a little program to see our consumption, and thanks to this program we managed to do this diagram. So here you can see the 3 steps of the hand washing process: the wetting time, the soaking time, and the rinsing time. So we can see that when the child is not in front of the tap, we have no energy drawn and no energy collected. And as he puts his hand in front of the infrared sensor, the cycle begins. We have a small and big energy drawn, but within 0.01 seconds. And we have a lot of energy collected. As he soaks his hands, his hand's not in front of the infrared sensor, so the water stops pouring. And as he puts his hands back, we collect energy again.
We encountered many problems during this project. The first problem was with the quotation that we took for SolidWorks. We took a wrong quotation, so when we adjusted this measurement, we had to modify our entire system. We had a problem with the delivery of the AT-Tiny because it was delivered 3 weeks after what we anticipated. We thought we had a problem with the solenoid valve because when we measured its consumption, it was surprisingly huge, but then we discovered it was bistable. The last problem was with the turbine because when we purchased it, it was written it produced 1 watt, but finally after several tests we discovered it only produced 0.25 watts.
Globally, we can say that it's an innovative and ambitious project, as the pedagogical context is respected as we guide children during the hand washing process, and the ecological context is respected as we decreases the waste of water. So thank you for listening, and don't forget water is important, so don't waste it.